Going live, going live. I think I'm live now. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome. Happy Monday evening. It's only Monday. Doesn't it feel like most of the week has gone by already? So sorry for doing the live show, but I don't apologize at the same time. So I'm sorry, but I make no apologies. This is the live show because I didn't have time. I ran out of time today to record a show for tonight. So it lacks in professionalism. It doesn't have the bumps. It doesn't have the music, things like that. It won't have the ad in the middle. So I'll just be talking for an hour. And I've even got Rainey is actually here with me as well. Say hey.
Hey.
She had to get some lipstick on. She looks fantastic.
I didn't have to.
She didn't have to.
Stuck it on. It doesn't come off now, so
Yeah.
stained my lips.
So welcome everybody to Monday night, and we did a live show yesterday, but it wasn't really the Intrepid radio program yesterday. It was the Rainey and Scotty show.
Yeah, Rainey and Scotty.
See, I take second fiddle to her on Sundays. So you're looking fantastic today.
Thanks. I'm going off no sleep.
Yeah. Hey, remember what I talked about last Friday?
Wow. What?
Wow.
Shut up.
You're awesome.
Yeah, I don't even know. I don't listen to your show, so I don't know what you're talking about.
Sunday, I talked about men desire to feel sexually desired
Sunday
too.
Or Friday?
That was Friday.
Oh.
And I was talking about how, guys, do you ever, when your wife walks into the room, just go, oh, wow, you are stunning. You are amazing.
You actually noticed
you
me? I
knocked
thought you
my
were
socks off.
Sleeping on the couch.
Yeah, that's me.
You're
I
always
just sleep
sleeping
on
when
the
I walk
couch.
into the room.
Yeah, always sleeping when she walks in the room. So, no, I always try to let my wife know that I love her, that I admire her. It's not just for her brains and her ability to be a good mom and all of that stuff and all the fun stuff about her. It's that sometimes she just walks in the room and I just go, whoa.
Yeah,
I am
get
one
that lady to do all my stuff for me so I
am
can
one
sit and nap on the couch.
lucky dude. So how is everybody tonight? It's good to see you all.
Yeah.
And it's rare I get to do this on a Monday night, but or a weeknight, but I can say hi to everybody. Master Finn, Matt Finn, how you doing?
See, I would like everybody to know that your day is messed up because I took it upon myself to schedule us massages.
That's what she did.
We went and got massages today instead of doing work stuff.
Yeah, she said it was a couple of weeks ago. She said something like, hey, put it on the 12th on your calendar. You're going to get a massage. I'm like, cool, okay. And I got a reminder call on like Friday. And hi, this is so-and-so from so-and-so massage and chiropractic and all that. And, you know, we're just calling to remind you. And I'm like, who is this? And it took me a minute for that to click in. So she set up a massage for me.
Yeah, it was not a good one.
It wasn't, you know, it's not that she was bad. I mean, anybody who touches your body and tries to make you feel better, you know, muscularly and things like that, you know, it's okay. But she wasn't as good as Rainey, I got to tell you.
No.
And so Rainey's been massaging for 20 years. This woman's been massaging for 3. And she had another business and she sold off her business and she decided to try this. And she was okay. But I didn't walk out of that massage going, wow, I'm really relaxed from that.
There was no, wow, I can't wait to come back.
Yeah. So, but every time Rainey gives me a massage, I'm always like, oh, wow.
Can we just leave this table up till tomorrow?
Yeah, really. I'll just go to sleep here.
Yeah.
So, do you ever get sore fingers and wrists, Leslie asks?
No, because it's all about body movement and motion. It's the way you stand. It's your table height. It's a whole bunch of factors all in there.
That's right.
So
Rocky Stucci's here.
Rocky!
Yo!
What's up,
Rocky? Rocky!
Oh, man.
Butt, back, and shoulders, says Matt Finn.
Oh, man, yeah,
She didn't even get to my butt today.
No, I was disappointed.
She only did, yeah, me too.
She was pointy. It was pointy.
Yeah, she was very pointy with her thumbs and stuff, and
thumbs and getting in spots, and it was just really light work, and it wasn't flowing. It was really light finger, and it wasn't bad, but I won't go back.
Yeah, it wasn't bad, but you know, I know better massage therapists.
Yeah,
that one. So she's all right, but she's expensive. The upkeep is just crazy.
Expensive.
So, but an actual massage, not your wife booked you for a time slot. Yeah, I wish. No, she sent me somewhere else to have another woman touch my body.
It was supposed to be a fun day where we went and got massages, and then we were gonna go have lunch and maybe
hang out and do stuff.
And then we had a kid sick home today, so
kind of sick, not sick enough to not take along, because we couldn't. There was no sitters, so she had to come along with us. But it turned into mom and dad and 5-year-old.
Yeah.
Constant motion, perpetual motion, movement.
Mom,
dad. Where's mom? Where's mom? Then, Rainey had her own massage too after mine. And so we waited out in the car. We went outside. It was nice. It was gorgeous. A fall day. Gorgeous days for this. I mean, ask Rocky. He's in there. Ask Leslie. They're local to this area. You know what it's like this time of year and what it was like today. So it was nice. And I got my new Trump sign today. My big one. Put that up in the front yard. And we're on a corner on a hill. So I put my big sign out there kind of diagonally on the front corner, and so everybody can see it. So
my back hurts.
Yeah.
See, my back's supposed to feel good after a massage. Instead, my back hurts.
I'll give you a massage. So
yeah.
So she looks like a superhero with this top on and all that.
Dun, dun. That's Jurassic Park. Never mind. I was gonna give myself a theme song, but Jurassic Park's not it.
So anyway, did you know that it's Columbus Day today? Many people don't know that anymore. And I was going to talk about Columbus a little bit today. And we did last year too. And you probably don't remember that. But what do you think of Columbus Day being called Indigenous Peoples Day?
I don't really care what they name it. I just would like to get my mail.
I just like to get mail and be able to go to the bank.
I don't know why the post office wasn't open. Yeah. I don't know why. Name it whatever you want to name it. I understand Columbus and all the back history and whatever, but yeah, if they want to name it Indigenous Peoples Day, that's cool.
That's fine. I don't care.
Can we have more powwows out in the street then? Like, let's make it fun. If I'm not going to get mail, I want to see like some native dancing down my street singing and
that's it.
Doing a powwow.
That's it. So if they're going to do that, let's make it worth having.
Yeah, let's make it fun and exciting.
Make it a celebration of Indigenous peoples.
Let's slowly just forget Columbus and bring back my mail on Monday.
There it is. Yeah. So. But
I just feel dumb for saying that. I feel really dumb for saying that.
That's all right. You can have your mail any day of the week.
Yeah.
Let's see. What do we got here? What's everybody saying? I need to have dorks for Trump. Shirts messages made for me in Kaysen. That would be funny. That's easy to do. Hey, Steph. And Barry, good to see you.
Here, what did it say? Here, let me see if I can do tiny T-Rex arms. Hold on.
Oh, tiny T-Rex arms. What are you doing there, Rainey?
Hold this side right there. Okay, ready?
I'm ready. Can you do it?
Maybe. I gotta get my arm in there. Pull a little harder.
I'll pull it right up.
There we go.
There you go.
Rawr.
Where did somebody say something?
Yeah, I think someone said tiny T-Rex arms. Where we go? No, yeah, Steph. Woo! Rainey, do the tiny T-Rex arms.
There it is. Tiny T-Rex arms.
I'm gonna get the kid.
Yep. This is not family show time.
Not family show.
So, bye. That's Ellery.
Oh, wait. Here, I would like to show off Ellery.
Oh, all right. This is the sick child.
This is our sick child. Look who cut her hair.
Oh, yeah.
Look at that. Oh, look cute.
I think I mentioned that the other day on the radio when I was helping get her ready on Friday morning, and she was in great rebellion when Rainey was out of town, and she was complaining that little section hanging right there.
Okay,
wouldn't brush back into her ponytail.
Go out.
And she was crying and mad and angry. And I said, well, maybe if you didn't cut it, you would have done that. So, there you go.
Don't it shakes the whole computer when you do that.
So Leslie says, hey, Ellery, Amelia wants to meet you. I told her you were the same age and in kindergarten too. So there you go.
You want to say cool? I'd like to meet her.
There you go. Unexpected family night, folks.
Yeah. Want to show everybody your cool rash? She's gonna too.
Oh, she got a rash all over.
Oh, look
There
at
you
that.
go. Rash. Look at that.
We don't have to lift the whole
It's not chicken pox or anything, but it's weird.
It's itchy when you scratch it.
So don't scratch it.
It's itchy.
All right.
Okay, go put some lotion on.
All right.
It's itchy.
We'll see you. We got to do some serious talking here. So we're going to have you get down
If I come out, it's
and go
bedtime
in the
now.
other room.
If I come out, it's bedtime now. You better go watch. Go watch
Go
your
to your
show.
show.
I'll be out in 5 minutes.
All right.
Oh, let me shut the door.
All right. So Mondays are Mondays, James. You're right. And yeah, that was Ellery. That's my youngest, the 5-year-old. Those of you who join us on Sundays have met her and Rowan many times. And Flynn, he doesn't come in quite as much, but it's always nice to have Rainey on. I want to do a little more formalized radio show with Rainey on Sundays. By formalized, I just mean we have topics that we talk about that are rather
and he
than
doesn't leave me to stand by myself.
I had to leave her a couple of times because we had kids bothering us on Sunday morning. Like they wanted to be fed. It's like, what's with that? We fed you
Yeah.
yesterday.
Wait a week ago. You don't have to eat for another 10 days.
Yeah. So, by 9 o'clock, they should be well fed already.
Yeah.
She did great, says Steph.
Thanks. I struggled.
She struggled. She does all right.
I did all right.
But Rainey's fantastic. You should hear her when she gets going. She can talk about her topics. She was telling me tonight, about scouting. One of Flynn's friends, who's the same age as Flynn, about 11 years old, didn't want to join Boy Scouts because they have girls allowed in Boy Scouts now. And so you gave him quite the talk about.
Yeah, I gave him the whole talk, the whole shebang.
Not about, she didn't chew him out or anything. She just gave him the talk, told him all about it.
I politely informed him. And now he would like to come to the next meeting next Monday night and maybe see if he wants to join Scouts.
Yeah.
So
that's good.
Yeah. Yeah, sometimes I know things.
That's right.
Sometimes I'm
you
smart.
do. Sometimes she's smart.
Yeah.
She's sometimes even smarter than me. Not on many occasions, but on some occasions. Let's see. Making Rice Krispie bars. And she does them smarter than me. I follow the directions, and mine are still rock hard, and hers are still gooey.
Yeah.
So it's like, what'd you do?
I learned how to cook. It's cook and trial.
So, and I've been making them for 50 years, but I still get them wrong. So, let's see. You're enjoying Sundays. Glad to hear that, Steph. Thank you. Let's see. What else were you telling me about tonight? Somebody came to Scouts. How old were your kids? How old are your kids? Rowan's age? 8?
Third graders.
Third graders.
My Dennis, third graders.
And some kid referring to President Trump as President Dump. Now, what did you tell him?
Hold on just a second. I need you.
Ellery, I need you to do what you were asked to do.
If you would like to earn
which
a reward,
is stay out.
If you want a reward, I need you to go out. Otherwise, you won't get.
Well, I get ice cream for my.
I might take you to the gas station after school tomorrow, but you need to go out and stay out and be respectful.
Need you to do. We're on the radio
Then I
now, so
won't
don't
take you.
talk about it now. You can
Then I
talk
won't take
about
you.
it later. Okay. Thank you. Bye.
Then I'll
Bye. Shut the
tomorrow
door.
when we're home.
Scintillating live
What if I
family
can't-
radio.
What if I don't go to school tomorrow?
What if I don't go? It's my 11-year-old boy Flynn. I don't want to go to school. That's every morning when we wake him up. But I don't want to
I will
go.
stay home and clean my room. I don't want to go.
I said, you'll do
He
more
was
than.
gonna ask you about that tonight too.
Yeah, no, ain't gonna happen. Yeah, he stays home because he forces us to leave without him. He will be he starts with cleaning the toilets with a toothbrush. Yeah, that's cruel and unusual punishment.
with his own toothbrush.
But it's going to be, it's going to be something he's going to have to do. Hey, did you see what Rocky said to Scotty?
No,
when, Barry? I
What'd you
talk
say,
to Rocky all the time. What did he say and when? About what?
Oh, here. I think there's a dude trying to smash on Rainey at Scouts.
Yeah, really.
Yeah, totally.
Rocky has his eye on him.
Yeah.
Those 11-year-old boys you got to watch out for.
8. They're 8-year-old boys.
Oh, 8-year-old boys? Okay. Yeah.
My den are 8-year-olds. We have 2 girls and 5 boys.
When he starts calling you a MILF at Cub Scouts, then we'll worry.
Yeah. I don't think we have to worry.
Hi, Mrs. Roberts.
Yeah, probably not. My scout uniform makes me look real attractive.
Oh yeah, it's woman in uniform.
Big billowy shirt.
It's built for like a
middle-aged
I don't know
dad with a
think of Chris
belly.
Farley. Chris Farley could have worn that shirt.
Yep.
And so she puts. Did you sew darts in it even?
I stitched up the side just so when I tuck in, it's not all bunched in, but it's still.
It's not appealing. It's not built to be appealing.
Nope, it ain't.
All right. So, what did you tell this kid who referred to the president as President Dump?
Dump. Well, I found out. I should say I found out at least one of our kids and parents are Biden supporters, and I'm not gonna say anything to anybody about their beliefs. Whatever, as long as you're not a jerk off, I don't care who you want to vote for. So whatever. But I kind of knew the majority of the families are Trump families, and so one family is not a Trump family, and that's fine. But one of the boys was talking, and what did he say? He said something about if Biden wins and Trump isn't president, the world's gonna go to hell. And then you hear mom in the background going, son, we don't talk about politics here.
Nice.
And I said, no, that's okay if he wants to share. He can share, but it has to be respectful. So saying it's going to go to hell probably isn't the right way to say things. And we were going around the table and we're talking more about famous Americans and what they are about. You know, what famous Americans do you know? And one said Biden. And I was like, all right, cool. Biden's a famous person. I said, why is he famous? And he kind of looked at me like, oh. But then he's like, my dad's going to vote for Biden. And I'm like, that's cool. And then another kid goes, and there's President Trump. And he goes, yeah. And then there's Donald Dump. And I said, hey, I understand that you like Biden. I said, but other people like Trump, and we don't say disrespectful things like that. It's Trump or don't say it at all. And kind of put the kibosh on it. And after that, I only had to tell him once more, we don't say Donald Dump. And then I think he understood, and everything was very respectful. It was kind of
because while we may have our political beliefs, she's not there in Boy Scouts or Cub Scouts to teach kids one political system or ideology or the other. But she says, look, if you're going to refer to the President of the United States when you are a scout, you're going to refer to him as President Dump, then you are not abiding by the Scout Code, which is respect, which is courtesy, which is honor, and all of these things. If you dislike the president,
trustworthy, courtesy.
You can dislike the president if you want, but you act out of respect. You act like a scout. You don't act like somebody on the street.
Right. Just be respectful. You be respectful to everybody you meet, and it doesn't matter if you don't like them or not. You do your best to stay respectful.
That's right. That's right, Leslie. Exactly.
Yeah, Leslie. I don't know what she said.
Oh, she said it's real important to show respect for the office, whether you like the president or not.
Yep.
And that's right. And this is something that I even say to our own 11-year-old son, Flynn, and a bit to Rowan, is a little more to Flynn. It's like when you act certain ways, son, are you doing what you say you believe when you're in Scouts? Remember when we did that big series on this show talking about why do you believe what you say you believe? And do you act it? Do you live it? And it's the same thing for something like scouting. Now, Flynn is not forced to go to Scouts. He gets mad sometimes and doesn't want to go. It's like, look, if you don't want to go, you don't have to go. But then don't expect to earn anything.
Yeah.
And if you want to drop out, then go ahead and drop out. You know, we would like you to stay in, but it's your choice.
And our boy earned all 27.
He did.
For Webelos. I'm kind
All
of
his 27 activities and his badges for the year.
Achievements and advancements.
And so, but it's like I say to my son, I said, you're a scout and you take that vow that says, I will be, I don't have it in front of me, but, and I'm not a scout, so I
Would you
can't
like
remember.
me to get it? On my honor.
Yeah, well, why don't you get it?
I
On
will
my
try.
honor, I will strive to do these certain things. And among them are respect. Among them are honor. Among them are courtesy. And so I say to my son, if you're going to be a scout and you want to earn those things that say you deserve those merit badges for understanding this and doing these things, then you need to live it. You need to emulate what you say you believe. Now, where is it on here?
Well,
Here,
we've got
it's right here on the back of the scouting book. It's got the Scout Oath, which says this, in case you guys don't know this.
You want the big one?
On my honor, I will do my best to do my duty to God and my country, to obey the Scout law, to help other people at all times, to keep myself physically strong, mentally awake, and morally straight. And the Scout law is trustworthy, loyal, friendly, courteous, kind, obedient, cheerful, thrifty, brave, clean, reverent. And when you don't do those things, then you're not living what you say you're learning, unless you're just there because we're telling you to go. If it's meaningless, don't go. If you mean it, then do those things. And so when you've got a Cub Scout, I don't care what political philosophy you are, what your parents think. I don't care about any of that. If you talk degradingly about the President of the United States, I don't care if it's Obama, Bush, Bill Clinton, Donald Trump, Joe Biden, if he should happen to win, which I don't think he will, but even a Biden in office or any of these other people, anybody. You may disagree with them on a political level, but as a scout, as a citizen of the United States, you still support, you show the respect. Well, you know why other countries laugh at us? Because we got people in our own country, the land of the free, the home of the brave, all of those ideologies you want to say about the United States, who can talk so disrespectfully and so ill about the people that are in office. We believe in a system where we can elect somebody to office, but if he's not the guy we voted for, then we can act with disrespect. I don't think so. So this is what they try to teach in Scouts. And so this is where Rainey was just spot on. She's telling them, look, I'm not going to tell you what to think about somebody, but we will tell you this: you will respect that office as a scout. Yeah. So there you go.
And even not with politics. One of the kids last year came up to me and said, "I hate you," and I said, "That's totally fine. Hate me all you want, because it makes my smile bigger."
Yeah.
But you don't need to tell me you hate me. You can keep that to yourself.
That's it. Exactly.
So if you've got something nasty to say, disrespectful to say, just shut the fuck up.
Yeah. We don't say fuck on this show.
I'm sorry. Only on Sundays.
It's only on Sundays. Sorry. That's a Sunday word.
Shut the hell up.
No, we're not on the radio with this show tonight. We're on YouTube tonight.
Just YouTube.
So we couldn't say that over on Odyssey Radio. So we have to be careful.
All right. I didn't say it on Odyssey.
So that's all right. And yeah, so there you go. I thought that was some really good points that she brought up. Being a scout mom, a den mom.
Yeah.
So just think, if you were young and 8 and lived in our area, she could be your den mom too.
Yeah, and you wouldn't like me, and I'm okay with that.
She can be my den mom.
Yeah.
So
I give good treats when we're all
Delaney,
done.
if you meet him, say Scotty says hi. So let's see. I wish Trump would come to Washington State. I'd drive across the country to go see him, says Sean. Cool. So anyway, I do want to talk about Christopher Columbus a little bit tonight.
I don't want to.
You don't have to. You can go do your thing.
I'm gonna go put kids to
You go
bed.
wrangle-
You can talk about
You go
Christopher
wrangle kids.
Columbus.
So,
Yeah.
All right.
Have fun.
Well, you can crush me to your bosom now.
Have fun.
Okay.
Ah, ew. That was
All right.
loud and
You can
gross.
kiss me on air. People will enjoy that. Watch it.
Ah.
Bye.
Bye. Have a fun night, everybody. Thanks for letting me yammer.
Here, step back into the camera and say that.
Have a fun night, everybody. Thank you for letting me yammer. Or what I tell my kids, yip yapping. Thanks for letting me yip
Yip-yapping.
yap.
All right.
Yeah, quit your yip yapping.
Bye. Love you. Oh, by the way, wow. Awesome. Thank you for that. So, if only.
I need my scout stuff there.
All right.
I gotta put my scout stuff away.
I get my mic where it ought to go. And there we go. And sorry about the kids. We do have kids that, believe it or not, they are supposed to listen to what we say
Stinky.
and do what we say. Go on, dog. Sorry, this is closing in on me. I got to move this back to where it was. It was pulled out a little bit when Rainey stepped in. So, yeah. So I forgot what I was saying. Doesn't matter. So there you go. That's Rainey. That's this is what I don't like about our society today. What we've devolved to is that you don't have to show respect anymore. And I don't care if anybody uses the excuse, well, Donald Trump kind of ushered that in because he, the way he talks about people. I don't really give a rat's ass what Donald Trump says or how he says something. What I care about is how my children say something, how my children act in public, what my children have to say in front of other people. You should be concerned about the same thing. If one of my children had ever called President Obama a name while in office, just out and I had overheard it, I would have raked them over the coals, saying, you might disagree with him, but you don't disrespect him in front of other people. It's just not something that we do. That's a seed pod floating around in here. Obviously made its way in the door at some point. So that looked like something, if you saw that, some little white thing. It wasn't a ghost. It wasn't a fairy. It was a seed pod about an inch from the camera. So, so there you go. That's what I believe about that stuff. And I think we should all believe that. And we should push isn't the right word. We need to teach our kids to be respectful. You be respectful of other people. People can disagree with you, but you don't treat them out of disrespect. And especially when it comes to the leaders of our country, I'm sorry, if you don't like that leader, you don't disrespect the office. And it was like, I remember back when I was in Bible college, back in 1978, 79, that tells you how long ago that was. I was 17, 18 years old. We had one of our history teachers, and I think the class was civics. And he was teaching us, and I'll remind you, this was a Christian college, so keep that context in mind. He said, you as a Christian citizen of these United States should be willing to fight for the rights of somebody who doesn't believe the way you believe to speak freely. And he specifically cited Nazis. He says because we had been in an era where the Nazi party was rising again, the neo-Nazis. And he said, you as a Christian American should be willing to fight for the right for somebody like a Nazi to have the freedom to speak his mind. You may disagree with him. You may vehemently disagree with his ideology. He says, but if you take away his freedom to say what's on his mind, that is constitutionally protected. What's not constitutionally protected is inciting violence, or what's not constitutionally protected is consequences for something you might say that's stupid. And so he might have to face the consequences of what he says. But it's like if somebody went out and said, I'm going to assassinate the president of the United States. You have the freedom to say that, but you know what? You might get a knock on your door from the Secret Service. So while there are freedoms, there is responsibility. And as Thomas Jefferson said, I just cited this the other day, liberty too must be limited in order to be possessed. We're not libertines. We are a people with liberty. And so you take that and extrapolate all those thoughts I just gave you into how you speak about somebody who is in office. You have the freedom to think whatever you want to think. But you show, damn it, you show the rest of the world that this is our country. And we stand by our country. And we may not like our leaders and so much that we're willing to vote them out in a couple of years. We're going to raise awareness to vote somebody out of office because we don't like them. Because our country allows for different political points of view to hold that office, the highest one in the land. And so what you do, you set about finding ways to vote that person out and vote somebody else in who is better, who offers a better plan. And I don't care about all the cynics and all the conspiracy theorists that are out there. Yes, the United States citizens still do vote in their president. And so this is what I think we need to do in this country. You can state your ideology, but you be true to who you are as a citizen, and you stand for what is right, and you do what is right. When I hear people say they want to vote for Donald Trump because they believe he's the right person for the job, but then I see them diminishing the like Joe Biden, calling Joe Biden an idiot, or call all these people, whatever they might call them. To me, that's an opinion. We're welcome to it. But as respectful people, we say, you know what? They are welcome to their political ideology. I disagree with them. I disagree with what they bring to the table. I will not vote for them. But you do it respectfully. This is why I try not to fight when I'm in social media with people. You do it respectfully. I think of what, was it Jesus or the Apostle Paul in the New Testament said, when you speak kindness to those who speak ill to you, you heap coals of fire on their head. And the idea was that you make them guilty for the way they talk, not the way you talk. And so I think this is a lesson we all need to learn from as young as, the lesson Rainey just gave us about the Cub Scouts to all the way up to we as adults. We speak respectfully about people. We respectfully disagree with people. And the only time I really need to see the sleeves rolled up and the blades bared is when you are thrust into a battle. That's different. But when we're just talking, you express your opinion and you do it respectfully. And this is what we need to teach our kids. For a kid who is 8 years old to go to a Cub Scout meeting and refer to the president as Donald Dump, you know where he's getting that. And he's getting it at home. And that is not what we teach our kids, especially if we're going to put them into scouts. So there you go. I've railed enough on that issue. I have kicked what is now a dead horse over and over again. But I hope you get that. Now, there's something, as I said, I wanted to address this whole thing about Christopher Columbus. And it kicked off because it's Columbus Day, but it's also Indigenous Peoples Day. It's been renamed from Columbus to Indigenous Peoples. And why? I think it's the whole thing that and by the way, that's not a new movement. That didn't just happen in the last couple of years. This has been ongoing for a long time, several decades. And I think that there are some people who believe they have a case for renaming it that, a case for not honoring any good remembrance of Christopher Columbus. So I wanted to look at the 5 most outrageous claims about Christopher Columbus that need to be tempered by a sober look at the historical record. And so at a moment in our own history in the United States, where even George Washington and Thomas Jefferson are under attack, you knew it was going to be inevitable that the current unrest would also engulf the Columbus controversy. His case is unique, though, because unlike others, few people, least of all those who took turns stomping on his statues, know much about him. Ask the average person on the street, what do you know about Christopher Columbus? And you're going to get a small handful of answers. Discovered America, or didn't discover America. Discovered a land where people had lived here for already 15,000 years. Nowadays you're going to start hearing, committed genocide against the Native American Indians that lived here. Enslaved people. These are the things you're going to start hearing nowadays. And people are starting to already assume that Columbus brought slavery and genocide to the New World. And Europeans did, of course, commit a great many sins in the New World, but they didn't introduce new evils to the New World. All of them, including slavery and genocide, already existed amongst the indigenous peoples of the Americas, as they did throughout the entire world, especially at that day and age. The late 1400s, the early 1500s, 15th to the 16th centuries, slavery was a world paradigm. And it already existed. And so one person who knew Christopher Columbus personally was the Dominican missionary. His name was Bartolomé de las Casas, I think. De las Casas. Bartolomé de las Casas, is I think how you pronounce it. And he earned the name Defensor de las Indios. Defensor de los Indios, the defenders of the Indians, because of his passionate diatribes against exploiters of native peoples in America. And Las Casas didn't spare Columbus from criticism at all. He criticized him deeply, but he also defended Columbus against those who blamed him for all the disorders and violence that followed the first contacts with indigenous peoples here. The great explorer's missteps, De Casas said, were the result of ignorance and misjudgments about how to proceed. He said, quote, truly, I would not dare blame the admiral's intentions, for I knew him well, and I knew his intentions were good. It's good then to examine some of the contemporary charges against Columbus in order to assess him fairly. And that's what I want to do here now. I want to take a quick look at some of the 5 myths about Columbus, what people are saying about him now, the revised history of Columbus, why we needed a history of Columbus, why Americans, even as a different issue, why did we even establish Columbus, a Spaniard, Portuguese commissioned Spaniard, why did we even elevate him to somebody who is great in American history? So let's take a look at this right now and see what you think. And so I want to see what some of you are saying since we're live. That's the beauty of being able to do this. Sean Bowden says, Happy Columbus Day, everyone. And some people say that Columbus had Jewish ancestry, although he was born in Genoa, Italy. He was Italian. Sarah Nichols says Oregon celebrates IDPD instead of Columbus Day. So dumb. So dumb. And I don't have a problem with Indigenous Peoples Day. I really don't. And if you want to have it on the same day as Columbus Day, so go ahead. It's like my wife Rainey just said, if you're going to do Indigenous Peoples Day, why can't we learn how to dance indigenous dances in the streets and celebrate on Indigenous Peoples Day? Why is it just a political celebration that's supposed to be anti-Columbus Day? Don't make it anti-Columbus Day. Make it pro-Indigenous Peoples Day. And if you want to use Columbus Day to do it, then more power to you. If you want to, and some people want Indigenous peoples to eradicate Columbus Day and replace it. I say we can do with both, and there's reasons why we should be able to do that. And Morgan, good to see you. Nice to see you. I'm looking to see what Leslie Holker said. Columbus sailed the ocean blue in 1492. I remember that song. I don't remember the tune of it, though, Leslie. We sang that. Columbus sailed the ocean blue in 1492. Let's see, 1493 collected slaves in the Americas. This is Barry Chad. Yeah, there was some of that. We're going to talk about that. Let's see. What else we got people saying? Now you make me feel a little, says Morgan. Yeah, there you go. And so let's see, should have had its own day. Yeah, I agree with you, Matt Finn. Indigenous Peoples Day should have had its own day. Why take the other day? Why replace one to do the other? So yeah, I have a problem with that too. So let me get back to these 5 myths. Myth number 1 was that Christopher Columbus was a violent man. That's one of the myths. Now, Las Casas spoke of Columbus's sweetness and benignity, quote unquote. Far from being a violent man, he often got into difficulties because he would be indulgent of people, toward natives and Spaniards alike. Columbus had to deal with the Spaniards too. And he would take extreme measures against both of them when things got out of hand. He was a great navigator, but he was a pretty poor governor. And by his 3rd voyage, he was cautioning Ferdinand and Isabella about who they were allowing to sail to the New World. And he needed, he said, 60 missionaries to preach Christianity to arrogant and abusive Spaniards, and another 60 upstanding men to help him run the colony. And so he was asking for missionaries to the Spaniards that were there to preach to them tolerance and goodness and so on. Myth number 2 was that Columbus committed genocide. Now, there was no genocide during the early voyages. Though many natives died from these unfamiliar European diseases and clashes between 2 very different cultures, the Americas had been isolated from the rest of the world for millennia, which is why people here, though they had their own plagues, were especially vulnerable to diseases from the outside. Like coronavirus. Nobody had it before. And so nonetheless, the Spaniards never intended to commit genocide. And even a cynical reading, a ready supply of native workers served Spanish interests. So you look at that, how are they going to get, if the Spaniards were trading slaves with Native Americans and capturing them for the slave trade, selling them, using them as servants, why would they wipe them out? That's genocide is a misnomer from the beginning. They may have been committing other atrocities, but genocide was not one of them. And Columbus really had nothing to do with that. Number 3 of myth is that Columbus instituted the slave trade. Now, Columbus wasn't interested in the slave trade. His goal, even though there are writings of his in his own journals that said we're bringing X number of slaves back to Spain, his goal was to set up a trading post, or later an agricultural colony on the island of Hispaniola. And that's today's Dominican Republic in the Bahamas and in Haiti. And he did, however, take slaves as prisoners of war, or where he found violations of natural laws, such as human sacrifice or cannibalism. Remember, he ran across tribes that were good-natured. He also ran across tribes that were cannibals. And those he punished by enslaving some of them. And the only reasons that Spain permitted any kind of the atrocities that were said committed against them was because they broke natural law, human sacrifice and cannibalism amongst them. Now, slavery was never the admiral, which is Christopher Columbus. That was his status. He was an admiral. It was never his intention, except as a not very effective way to maintain order in unprecedented circumstances. Now, myth number 4, he had only worldly interests, is what they say about Columbus. He was there for the gold. And people often claim that Columbus was motivated by God, gold, and glory. But assume God was just a cover for worldly interests. And in fact, his religious devotion was sincere. And among other things, we know him from his writings that he felt that he had been given a role in spreading the gospel to all nations, which had to happen before Christ could return, according to his theology. And in later years, he often dressed as a third order Franciscan. So his motivations were not glory, God, and gold. Those are some of his job descriptions, but his motivation was to spread the gospel. How about that? Bet you didn't hear that much in recent years. Myth number 5 was that he didn't accomplish anything extraordinary. So many also claim that Columbus didn't discover the New World, which he really didn't. Those living here already knew where they were, and the argument goes, and they didn't need to be discovered. And this is half truth, really, when you think about it. Indigenous peoples, of course, knew their own lands. They didn't know that they were part of a larger world. And one reason we especially honor Columbus is that he began the process toward the one interconnected world that we now inhabit. Vasco da Gama, he sailed around Africa and reached the Indies 5 years after Columbus arrived in the New World. But great as that feat was, he only found a new route to long-known lands. Columbus, by skill, imagination, and sheer grit, gave us the New World. He's the one that brought it. Now, there are arguments that the Phoenicians were here thousands of years ago, that the Vikings were here 400 years at least before Columbus. Now, those things may be true. But did they open the New World to the rest of the world, of the known world, the Far East and Europe? No, they really didn't. There were stories of them having been there, scant relics, scant evidences that they had ever done that, but never was the world opened up, or the Americas opened up to the rest of the world until Columbus's discoveries of the vast landmass in between both sides of the world as we knew them at the day. And so there you go. He opened up the New World to the world. And James says, any dumb EFF could have stocked a fleet of ships with a few months of rain dance. Sure they could have. And so Columbus was there. Columbus was not a genocidal maniac. They say he was a rapist because he gave, was it a Taino or an Arawak woman, to a member of the crew. And that crewman beat her into submission before she'd have sex with him. And then he said she was just as fine as any trained prostitute. So there are stories out there. There are stories of journal entries, but the overall takeaway on Columbus was that a lot of the things that are said now are expanded mythology. It's something that's written to make things look worse than they are. It's like an anti-apologetic of Christopher Columbus. And there are facts surrounding him. There are some people that say that he didn't actually discover anything, which we just covered. And when he set sail in 1492, no one on either side of the Atlantic knew that the other one was there. So he brought those cultures, diverse as they may be, he brought them together. And he sparked a mutually beneficial exchange of goods and ideas. And it was a voyage of discovery. We know he didn't commit genocide. He's to be blamed for bringing diseases to the New World. And inadvertently, Europeans did bring communicable diseases to the New World, for which the native peoples had little or no immunity. And great numbers died as a result of this. Some diseases may also have been spread to the Europeans by the natives. So the vast majority of indigenous peoples who died in the years following the European settlements of the New World perished from disease rather than from conflict or abuse at the hands of Columbus or any of his people or the European settlers. And this is a tragic, unintended consequence of first contact, of encounter between two cultures. But it's not something for which Columbus or anyone else can really be held responsible or culpable. They didn't go there to spread disease. They went there on missions of discovery. And that's one of the downsides to what happened. That exposure caused disease, the introduction of disease. Another myth is that Columbus introduced slavery to the New World. Now, slavery was common, even among the native people in the Caribbean. And this is according to former Stanford anthropologist Carol Delaney. However, slavery was not Columbus's goal. Friendship with the native peoples was his goal. Even today, enemy combatants are often captured and imprisoned, and criminals are often assigned to do manual labor. Same kind of a thing that Columbus did with people who violated the law or people who were committing atrocities of their own. So, Columbus sought to force natives to work, according to one of the myths. Now, Columbus resisted. He resisted efforts to force the natives to work. He expected his own men to build the settlements, search for natural resources, perform their own labor. When he consented to using native laborers, he sought to compensate them properly as vassals of the Spanish crown. However, Columbus's men violated those standards. Facing rebellion and under duress, Columbus allowed a system of labor already instituted by the rebels. Columbus himself is well documented to have advocated for just treatment of the natives. So I don't care what you hear about Columbus instituting slavery in the Americas. He did not. He stood against that. And he only used certain aspects of that in the worst of cases, in the worst of judgments against people who were committing these acts. Another myth we kind of mentioned is Columbus was a brutal man. Well, you know what? He often sought to restrain his men from mistreating the native peoples. In a time when some would question whether the native peoples of America were truly human, even human, remember the case of was it Little Bear in Kansas, Arapaho, Cheyenne, Northern Cheyenne, how he had his civil rights trial in we went through this a few weeks ago, 1869, I believe it was. And the trial was to establish that he was a human being and could therefore speak as a human being. And he won that trial. This is a few hundred years earlier. This is back when there was question from some that this was a time when some would question whether the native peoples of America were truly even human. Columbus immediately acknowledged their humanity and innate dignity. He recognized them as humans with immortal souls and was concerned for their salvation and their right to choose freely to embrace the Christian faith, which he wanted to bring to them. And so he even adopted a son of a native chief as his own son. Did you know that? And there's a question as to whether or not Columbus forced his religion on the natives. Now, Columbus was a devout Christian who desired, a devout Catholic, let's put it that way, who desired to introduce the native peoples to Catholicism, Christianity. But he didn't force anyone to convert. He specifically saw the Indians as a, quote, a people who would be better freed from error and converted to our holy faith by love than by force, end quote. And he wrote that in his diary. He asked the monarchs and the Pope to send priests who would learn the native language and instruct the people in the Christian faith prior to baptism. So did you know there was a myth that said Columbus was arrested and returned to Spain in chains for his cruelty against the natives? That's a myth, because after his third voyage, while he was governor of Hispaniola, Columbus was indeed arrested and taken back to Spain in chains. But it was for actions taken against rebellious European settlers. He had punished and even executed some of the Europeans for abusing the Native Americans. Bartolome de las Casas, although sometimes critical of aspects of Columbus's administration, wrote of the sweetness and benignity, as we already mentioned, of Christopher Columbus. And he added, quote, "Truly, I would not dare blame the admiral's intentions, for I know him well, and I know his intentions were good," end quote. And so these ideas that Columbus was all these negative things, these are ideas that have been exploited, but they are not the truth about who the man was. Columbus was only after gold and glory and his own self-interest, and surely he desired to be rewarded. Any businessman, I don't care if you are a good man or a bad man, when you set out on business, it is to better yourself and your situation. And he, of course, he desired to be rewarded and recognized for his efforts. But these were not his primary driving motivations for his voyages to the New World. His motivations, for the most part, were religious, including to have Christianity brought to the natives. That was, of course, after he discovered that they were there. Now, Columbus was a poor navigator. That's another silly myth. Columbus was a skilled navigator. He made an unprecedented voyage across the Atlantic and found the New World. And although Columbus didn't reach Asia as he had hoped, his voyages revealed an entire continent previously unknown to the peoples of Europe. Because he kept journals of his voyages, he blazed a path for other explorers to follow. In addition, Columbus did something none of his contemporaries had done before him. He sailed west into the unknown and found a land and returned safely. So one of the gravest myths, and the final one we're going to talk about, is that Columbus is a symbol of white supremacy. In fact, the Ku Klux Klan, the KKK in particular, has demonstrated enormous hostility toward Columbus because he was Italian and he was Catholic, rather than the Anglo-Saxon and Protestant, which aroused their anti-immigrant and anti-Catholic bigotry. Historically, the KKK actively protested Columbus celebrations and monuments to the explorer. KKK, the white supremacists, do not exalt Christopher Columbus. So there's a lot of reading you can do on Christopher Columbus. I encourage you, not that it's a going concern, but it's become a concern because of the revisionist history being written about him. You know me very well and my stance on things Native American and atrocities committed against Native American peoples. I don't think Columbus was among them. His atrocity may have been that he wanted to give them a God that they didn't know or didn't accept. He may have done things in his administration work that were not good, that were not organized. He wasn't there to do that. That's not what he wanted to do. He also may have not had the best solutions to every problem. But he was certainly not the genocidal, rapist, maniac, killer, enslaver that people would like to make him out to be today. So it's okay to honor Columbus on Columbus Day. He did some pretty good things. He wasn't perfect, but he wasn't the heinous person that we are led to believe. And I have to say, some of my Native American brothers and sisters are a little misguided in that. Taking a stance on something sometimes prerequisites that you know something about history and you know something about the people that you want to excoriate. And I would encourage anybody and everybody to do a little more study on Columbus and make up your own mind, but base it on historical fact, historical data. Then you also have to do what I say you have to do in when we're talking about ancient history. and you're reading ancient writings, you have to interpret them, read them, and understand them through the context in which they were written, what the person writing them would have meant in context, what the people he was writing to or who would have seen his work, what the context was of what they would have believed and understood. That's how you have to look at these things. So, folks, I encourage you to know your history and know what you're talking about. And before you take a stance on this issue, Christopher Columbus Day should stand as it is. Indigenous Peoples Day should stand as it is. I don't think they should have to take over another holiday to do it. They should have their own holiday. Putting it in the place of Columbus Day is making it a protest. Make it something positive. Make it something proactive. Make it something good for everybody to understand without excoriating something else in its place. That's my take on it. So there you go. All right, I'm glad that you enjoyed it. I'm glad you enjoyed it live. It's nice to see some of you people here. Leslie, thank you for saying that. Yeah, it'll continue until they can influence the civilian army to fight the political opposition. Yeah, there you go, Matt. Yeah, they say what Susie Q said. They say it was. They want to say it was awful from the beginning and tear it all down, burn it down, start over like that. That never fixes anything. You're right, Susie. This vilification of America's historical figures that formed our foundations, Matt Finn says, is all an effort to provoke a political revolution. Yeah, it is. Sad to say. And that's true, Matt. You don't, Matthew Sainsbury. You don't hear that side of Columbus very often. And just going back and looking at some of what you guys had to say. Sailing across the ocean, says Matt Finn, and rediscovering the Americas is definitely an achievement, regardless of whomever came before. That damn straight. Especially at a time where that was not a common practice. Sailing across the Atlantic, a lot of people in the late 1400s still believe you sailed off the edge into Tartarus, into the great abyss, and you were never seen again. If you were going to China, you went around the Cape of Good Hope. You went around the Horn of Africa, and you sailed that way. So that's the, or you went through the Mediterranean and down through. Oh no, I don't think there wasn't a canal that connected the Gulf of Aqaba or so on. But that's the way you went around the south of Africa to get to China if you were from Europe. And nobody had ever gone west to do that before. That brings to mind a song that's not very pertinent to this, but The Great Explorers. If you've never heard Stan Rogers sing before, he's the late Stan Rogers. I had talked about and played some of his songs a long time ago. Canadian folk artist. And he died quite a number of years ago, 20, 30 years ago. Died in a fire in a plane, I heard. But he was a great folk singer. Some great songs that we've had of his. And he had one called The Northwest Passage, where the overland explorers that went seeking the Northwest Passage across North America. And you should go look up his song. Go to YouTube and look up Stan Rogers and the song Northwest Passage. And you'll see what I'm talking about. Now, this isn't honoring Columbus, and it's not about Columbus Day, but it's about the great explorers. It says, for just one time. For just one time, I would take the Northwest Passage and find... I can't remember the words. It's been so long since I sang it. For just one time, I would take the Northwest Passage and find the... I can't remember the words. I'm sorry. Sorry I brought that up and then couldn't finish that. But go look up that song. It's a great song. As a matter of fact, while I sit here, Northwest Passage lyrics, it says this. It says, for just one time, I would take the Northwest Passage to find the hand of Franklin reaching for the Beaufort Sea, tracing one warm line through a land so wild and savage, and make a Northwest Passage to the sea. And it says, westward from the Davis Straits, 'tis there was said to lie the sea route to the Orient, for which so many died, seeking gold and glory, leaving weathered, broken bones, and a long forgotten, lonely cairn of stones. For just one time, I would take the Northwest Passage to find the hand of Franklin reaching for the Beaufort Sea, tracing one warm line through a land so wild and savage, and make a Northwest Passage to the sea. 3 centuries thereafter, I take passage overland. Let's see, I'm missing. In the footsteps of brave Kelsey, where his sea of flowers began, watching cities rise before me, then behind me sink again, this tardiest explorer driving hard across the plain. And through the night, behind the wheel, the mileage clicking west, I think upon Mackenzie, David Thompson, and the rest, who cracked the mountain ramparts and did show a path for me to race the roaring Fraser to the sea. How then am I so different from the first men through this way? Like them, I left a settled life and threw it all away, to seek a Northwest Passage at the call of many men, to find there but the road back home again. For just one time, I'll sing it. He says, for just one time, I would take the Northwest Passage to find the hand of Franklin reaching for the Beaufort Sea, tracing one warm line through a land so wild and savage, and make a Northwest Passage to the sea. How then am I so different from the first men through this way? Like them, I left a settled life, I threw it all away, to seek a Northwest Passage at the call of many men, to find there but the road back home again. For just one time, I would take the Northwest Passage to find the hand of Franklin reaching for the Beaufort Sea, tracing one warm line through a land so wild and savage, and make a Northwest Passage to the sea. I encourage you to go look up the song. They do some harmonies in that song that are unbelievable. So there you go. All right, folks. I got to see if there's anything left to say. Great show, Captain, says Matt Finn. Master Finn. The live format creates a great open conversation for all the crew. Certainly does. We appreciate you. If you can help support Scott, thank you. And you know, folks, I would like to do this show live, as I've said many, many times. I have to get my nose to the grindstone and get the software set up so I can actually do this. I like doing a live show. It was nice having Rainey on at the beginning. And of course, now we've already run 9 minutes over our allotted time slot. So if I was to do a live show, I would still have to follow the constraints of the radio station, the network, so we can fit into the time slots there. But we can always do go beyond on the live channel here. So yeah, I may have talked about the Northwest Passage before, Matt. You might be right. So And so, yeah, nautical themes. My soul has found the sea. I must go down to the sea again, to the lonely sea in the sky, to the gull's way and the whale's way, where the moon, where the sea is, the tide is calling high, something like that. Can't remember. We had to memorize that in school, in middle school. So for a class, for English lit class. And yeah, you get me into nautical themes, nautical poetry, nautical. Stan Rogers also did, while you're there, looking up Northwest Passage, find Barrett's Privateers. That's another great song that they did. Yeah, Davy Crocked Locker. There it is. Yeah, there you go, Leslie. Thanks a lot. And Barrett's Privateers, go look it up. That's also a very good song. And listen to anything Stan Rogers. You'll enjoy it. All right, folks. I think we're going to wrap it for tonight. I want to say thanks for being here. Sorry we didn't do the show in its normal format. I have come in wind-tossed, wind-blown, weathered for the day. With me sea legs on. But thanks for being here. Thanks for listening. I appreciate you. I appreciate everything you do for me, and I appreciate everything that you do by bringing yourself to this show. Spread the word that this show exists, and we're going to see in the near future if we can do some things to spread it out even more. And that's all I got. So thanks for being here. We'll see you tomorrow night. Probably be a regular formatted show tomorrow night. We'll probably pre-record and have it going. Although I got to tell you, I love doing the live format. So, but we'll see what we do tomorrow. Now, we've got to stick to the old format before we can totally transfer over into the new. So we'll get it worked out. So thanks, everybody. You have a good night. We'll see you in 23 hours, a little less than that, when we'll be right back. So thanks for being here. You have a good night, and we'll see you tomorrow.